Hey guys, it's Dana and it's Tuesday, so we're going to talk about money. And today I wanted to discuss the difference between an emergency fund versus a sinking fund versus a savings account versus a budget item. So let's talk about that. Okay, so I have a lot of different stuff going on, a lot of stuff. And so I'm getting confused about the differences between a sinking fund and budget items. So what's the difference? I don't know. No, I do know. Let's talk about the difference. Let's talk about the difference because I've been thinking about this a lot. And recently I heard Dave Ramsey on the radio ranting at somebody about how their item that they wanted to save money for was not, they were putting money aside and he said, it's not a sinking fund. That's not a sinking fund. That is a budget item. So I was like, oh, this is, in another video I was talking about how I find it confusing. And really it's all just, it's terminology, right? A sinking fund versus a savings account, they're all savings accounts. So a sinking fund is a savings account. Basically, you're saving money. So you can call it whatever you want, but really it's just a savings account. But so Dave was saying a sinking fund is a long-term savings account, and that would be a place that you would put money for a roof or for a car that you wanted to save up for, and that Christmas should not be in your sinking fund, even though Christmas comes once a year, right? We know Christmas comes once a year, and other things come around once a year, like your property taxes or what have you. So you need to save money for that, but that would be a budget item. It goes in your budget. It's a budget item. So if you put it into your budget every month, and then obviously you're not spending it until Christmas, then, by the time you get to Christmas, you should have that amount of money that you budgeted every month. That full amount of money should be sitting there in your account so you can spend it on Christmas. So you can move it over to a savings account if you want, but it's still just a budget item, and a budget is your windshield in your car, so to speak. It's what you're looking forward to the future, to what's going to be coming up, and that's what your budget is for, is to plan for those items you're going to need in the future. And a sinking fund is the long-term savings account that you have for the big items, such as a roof, things that you think are going to break down. And then you have your emergency fund, which is only to be used for emergencies. And this is a savings account, and it's money set aside that you are not going to use ever unless something really big happens, like you end up in the hospital, you have a medical problem, something that you need money immediately for, an emergency that you hadn't planned on, you didn't know it was coming up. If you knew it was coming up, then it's not an emergency. If you know it's coming, it's not an emergency. So that money is only for the unexpected items, that emergency fund. And if you're in baby step 2, which means that you're trying to pay off your debt, you still have debt, then according to Dave, you really shouldn't have sinking funds going on at all. You should just have your emergency fund and then your budget items for things that you know are coming, such as Christmas or summer horseback riding lessons for your daughter. So those are budget items, right? So how you decide to organize all of this stuff is the tricky part, right? So you can have multiple accounts, bank accounts, savings accounts, or you can have one account, checking or savings, that you just earmark certain amounts for certain things. So if you have one savings account, say, then within that one savings account, you can just branch it off in an Excel spreadsheet if you want to say which dollar amounts are for which things, and you can do that. I do that sometimes, but the best way for me actually is to have multiple accounts. So then we do have multiple accounts. We have 3 shared accounts, and then I have a savings account and a checking account at a credit union, and then another local bank. I don't really know how this all happened, but different employers that I've had opportunity to open accounts at credit unions. So I did so. And so we have within each of those accounts, like I have one account that I've earmarked just for Christmas. And then I have direct deposit. So my money gets directly deposited into those accounts. And I kind of like that we have different banks for those accounts because it makes it harder for me just to transfer money out of it into another one, into like our checking account to use for, something that we don't really need. So it's kind of like it's a budget item, say for Christmas. So every month, my direct deposit, it comes out and goes into this separate account at a separate bank. I can't touch it, it's just sitting there. And then at Christmas, I have a debit card to go with that account. And then that's the Christmas card. We use that debit or we go and take out the cash from the bank. So I kind of like having those separate accounts. I know a lot of people use that Capital One 360 account. I've heard other YouTubers talking about that. Wendy, if you're watching, I'm thinking of you. I looked at that, but I just can't stomach Capital One. Just the name of it makes me think credit card. So I can't open a Capital One 360 account. But I know a lot of people use that. I guess they like it. It's a pretty good interest rate. I don't know, what is it, 1%? But I just don't like the Capital One. So I just can't go there. So I have not opened one of those accounts. But sinking fund, emergency fund, your budget items that are put into a separate savings account if you want to. These are all just, basically you're managing your money, you're earmarking it, you're telling it where to go, what to do, you're thinking ahead, you're pre-planning for things you have going on, and budgeting is looking forward, like I said, through that windshield. So as long as you're, thinking about it and planning for things, then you're going to be okay no matter what you decide to call all of your separate accounts for your sinking funds or what have you. So I find it confusing. I do. And hopefully this video didn't confuse you even more. Hopefully it helped a little bit. But I did find it, like I said, I heard Dave talking recently on the radio, and he was really, he does have an article, a blog article on his blog, and it's titled Sinking Fund, and then it says such as Christmas. But then I've also heard him telling people Christmas is not a sinking fund, that's a budget item because it's coming. So like I said, it's just words, what you're choosing to say, I guess. But the point is to plan for it and have the money set aside. And so let me know your thoughts. How are your sinking funds organized? Do you have multiple accounts, or you just use one account and then just break it out on a piece of paper or on a spreadsheet so that you know what funds are for what item? Let me know how you do it. I'd love to hear. Maybe you can give me some good ideas. Like I said, currently we just have multiple accounts, different banks, some accounts at the same bank, and I like it that way because I can just clearly see $1,000 sitting there in that account, and I know what that's for, and then I don't touch it. And then the other account is for something else, and so that makes it better. But, like I said, if you're trying to pay off debt, you shouldn't really be saving for a new car because you're in baby step 2. So you're not really going to be having a lot of sinking funds to save up, because your goal and your sole purpose, your sole focus should be on paying off that debt. And you should have that little baby starter emergency fund of $1,000 set aside. And that should cover any unexpected things. And it would be unexpected if your car pooped out on you, right? But if you're in baby step 2, you'd have that $1,000. You would take your old car and you would sell it for scrap, and you'd just try to get budget some money that month together, pay less on your debt to buy a new cheap car to get you through till you get out of baby step 2. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm here every single Tuesday talking all about money, and I have 4 kids, and we live in the Philadelphia area. Yeah. And hope that your fall is going well. And you guys, if you are watching this video timely and you're a YouTuber and you made it to the end of this video, next week starts the YouTube Mommy Meetup Croctober collab. It's an annual collab. We have a lot of different moms and dads sharing crockpot recipes for the fall. And if you'd like to join that, you still can. So you can go into the YouTube Mommy Meetup Facebook group and you can sign up in there and join all of us. There's over 50 YouTubers that are signed up and going to be sharing recipes. So that starts next week in October. Okay? All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.